You are watching the Indie Box Guy YouTube channel. My name is Joel Sutter, and you will be riding along with me for the next few minutes as we discuss everything from B2B sales to prospecting to, of course, distributed packaging. Should you find these videos helpful or even just entertaining, please click the thumbs up button down below. Also, I would love to see your comments. I will read all of them, and I may even respond to a few. Please subscribe to my channel. Finally, let's get to work. Come on, hop in. Here is my mobile office. It is real fancy. It looks kind of dark, and that's because, I don't know if you'd see that, so I've got the 3 kid seats, and one is covered up by a custom coroplast box that I'm going to be working on, and then you can't even see out my back window. That is because I am full of what I call trunk stock. Some of those samples are for customers. Others are basically to leave with prospects and to let them try out, whether it be stretch wrap, tapes. If I have some poly bags back there, it's a full variety for sure. So yeah, let's get started on today. All right, let's go. Okay, so that was a good call. Went ahead and sampled the 2 rolls. Turns out one of which that he had asked me to quote was something that they have actually, looks like they've discontinued, but that's fine. But he was happy with the other roll that I brought him, and looks like it's going to be a good fit. We got plenty of other products and things, and we're ready to rock and roll with them there. So on to the next. One of the things I like to do when I'm out, this was a designated call, basically an appointment. Had to bring by a sample, but I don't have any scheduled calls here in the area. I do have one over on the east side of town. It's a little ways away, in about an hour and a half, so I'll need to leave the area here in probably about a half hour or 45 minutes. But so what I like to do is try to cluster my calls, meaning, so if I have an appointment or a meeting in a certain area and then I have some dead time to fill, I like to pay personal visits, cold calls essentially, or warm calls if I've stopped in there before, some check-ins and things of that nature, to businesses that are in close proximity to where I just had a meeting. So that's what I'm getting ready to do now, and make my second stop of the day. In my line of work, when you are coming into a larger warehouse, distribution center, or a DC, usually you could go in, the proper channels, meaning you could go into the front door, meet the receptionist, or AKA the gatekeeper, we kind of refer to them as sometimes. Usually very nice, and you can have some great conversation there, but a lot of times you end up with stalls, and you really only end up leaving with a business card of the person you should reach, which is still a small win. It's a win, but I try to collapse time frames as much as possible. I want to get to that decision maker, or somebody that has some influence on that decision. So the quicker I can do that, the better. And I happen to know somebody that works in this DC, not real well, but so I am going to go into the will call, hopefully catch that person's attention, or ask for that person, and see if he or she can't get me to somebody that has some pull or some influence in the buying or packaging or operations decision. So off I go. And every now and then you get the cold shoulder in the old will call. So now I'm off to the front, go through the proper channels, probably get a business card. So it is now 8:48. I probably need to hit the road at 9 I can probably, depending on how some of these go, I can probably make another 2 to 3 cold calls. So let's give it a shot. All right, so for this one, it's another good sized DC. It could be another scenario where I need to get in touch with perhaps a corporate entity, but I'm going to give it a shot. And before I go in this time, I'm going to jump on LinkedIn real quick, try to do a quick little search to see if I can find out perhaps a name of an operations manager or purchaser. I'm assuming this place is probably going to be best to be a warehouse manager or operations manager, and see if I can ask for that person by name. It seems to help move the process along a little bit quicker and increase my chances of getting some face time with somebody that's involved in the decision-making process. So let's take a look. All right, so that was a pretty good cold call. Found out that particular DC is the only one in the country that services all, 36 of their stores. So that was good to know. The decision maker, or the person that I would need to talk to at least first, was not in yet today. So that's fine. Was able to get some good, was able to get his contact information, and I will be reaching out to him for sure. And I was able to find out that they do purchase their packaging products local, which is important. As BGR, while we are a big player in we're a huge player in the 5-state region, number one actually, we have a local warehouse here in Indianapolis, and we do well with local companies, obviously. So yeah, that's a pretty nice call. Took a little bit longer on the research than I would have liked, but just to give you guys a little bit of inside baseball, one of the things I like to do, like I mentioned before, I did a simple company search on LinkedIn, see if I could pull up people that work at that particular company. I did drop a name. It was not the name that I needed to talk to, but it did end up getting me to the next name. The guy did go ahead and tell me who I actually needed to talk to, and we were able to go from there. The other thing that I do after the call is I get back in the car. If I get a business card or something like that, I go to my Evernote. Evernote is it's a web-based, I wouldn't say necessarily it's a CRM, but it's a place where you can take notes. You can take business snapshots of business cards, and it'll automatically load and hyperlink all the person's information from that business card. It'll transcribe all of that for you, and makes it pretty easy. There's a free version, and then you end up, of course, they upgrade you into other things. I do pay, I think I'm in the lowest tier. I think it's probably $3.50 a month or something, $3.50 a month. Gives me all the features except for that automatic upload of information from the business cards. I can still take pictures of those business cards, and it does put it in a smaller frame, and then I can type in the numbers and stuff myself. That'll hyperlink it and makes it easy for me to search and things like that. It's probably not the best solution for trying to use a CRM or tracking what stage of the cycle they're in, but it is great for taking notes, and it works well for me, and I probably won't change from it for a while. Very simple, pretty straightforward. So I highly recommend Evernote, and it's a pretty well-known app for folks in the sales profession. So if you haven't used that before, I'd recommend you give it a shot. Like I said, pretty user intuitive and pretty straightforward. So off to a packaging audit. I'm going to pack out. I'm going to do some time trials for it's an existing customer. Don't have a huge footprint with them in terms of what they're purchasing from me versus what they're using, but do have a long-standing relationship there, and things are moving very rapidly in the right direction. And this time audit will be recording, how long it takes their folks to package items, basically from beginning to end, and get some average notes. I'm going in there with one of our dunnage manufacturers, and we're going to set them up with some pretty awesome. We've given them some pretty awesome ideas as far as making these pack out times quicker, with overhead bins and things of that nature, and some extra automation that they don't currently have. And I think it's going to work out real well for them. I do want to, just a disclaimer, I'd love to be able to bring y'all with me inside some of these places, but I got to be cautious about that. Obviously, I've got competition in the local area, and I have no doubt that they would have interest in these videos once they're hitting YouTube, and that's okay, but I don't necessarily want them to know, where I'm at and where I'm going, for obvious reasons. Either I'm knocking on their customer's door, or they can glean an idea of whom some of my customers are. But I will, whenever I can, I'll try to bring you inside the interactions, and I think I'll be able to do some of that here today. All right. Well, that one kind of long. It was good, but it didn't go as planned, as you often find in this industry. Basically, the particular business that we were working with, they do a lot of fulfillment for Amazon, and they basically had packed through everything that they needed to, and so they were pretty much, for the most part, shut down today. Just didn't have much to do, and with tax time coming up, it was somewhat strategic. And the person we were meeting with kind of forgot about it, so no big deal. Happens a lot, but what we were able to do is we were able to get it done. All right, guys, just wrapped my last appointment for the day. Finished that up about half hour ago or so, and heading home. On the way home, a place caught my eye. Looked like a manufacturer, and I pulled off the freeway and stopped in there. Just another cold call at the end of the day. I always squeeze about as much as I can out of the day. I always want to make that last call, and I'm glad I made that one. I think not a huge piece of business, I don't believe, but it certainly sounds like it's ripe and ready to take a look at moving to someone else that can maybe give them some cost savings and things of that nature. So looking forward to reconnecting with that buyer, but that was a very good cold call as well. All in all, a very successful day, and I realized that I look like a 3-year-old behind the steering wheel of this car. For much of this video, I do appreciate y'all checking it out. But again, a very successful day. Basically some pack out analysis and some design for and giving some new ideas to a couple companies for how they can revise their layout and their assembly line, and some things that they can do to really improve efficiency and increase their throughput on their packaging, get more product out, and make themselves more money. Also got a new customer today, at least in terms of sign up, and looking forward to getting the first PO from them here shortly. I hope you all are doing great. It's a beautiful day out. Make it a great day and evening. I'm gonna go home and take the boy to karate and enjoy some family time.